Hi everyone, I'm DeborahFeldman, author of Unorthodox, The Scandalous Rejection of My Hasidic Roots. When I published my memoir a few months ago, it unleashed a storm of controversy and backlash, and surprisingly, that has fed into more media attention about Hasidic Jews and more people who've left the Hasidic community or within the Hasidic community speaking out about their experiences. And this is something that has been very interesting for me to watch because um, back when I was Hasidic, this wasn't happening, and I didn't have any media or any information out there to look at and draw conclusions from. So I've decided to start a little tradition of video blogging on my Tumblr in response to various topics that concern the Hasidic community that are being discussed in the media. And if you'd like to submit intelligent questions, or topics up for discussion, please do so in the submit box, and I will try to address the ones I feel are worth addressing. Today I would like to talk about the much lauded XO Jane essay written by Chaya titled "What Women's Media Needs to Know About Hasidic Women." And I was greatly disturbed by this essay. And I was not disturbed because it was an essay written by a Hasidic woman who was happy. I knew many happy Hasidic women when I was living in the Satmar community. What disturbed me was two things. The first issue is that Chaya failed to disclose in her essay that she is both a member of the most liberal Hasidic sect of Chabad Judaism and that she is a BT, meaning that she chose to become religious late in life and had access to a secular education and all the privileges that anyone growing up in the secular world would have. Secondly, she used pronouns like we and us, saying that she, someone who chose religion late in life, who became a member of the liberal sect of Hasidic Judaism, spoke for all Hasidic women all over the world, even ones that had been born into it without choice. This is very disturbing to me because I feel, even though she claims she is a media professional, I feel that she did some really bad PR work in this instance because she could have come on XO Jane and shared a personal essay about why she had chosen her path of spirituality and how it made her happy, and I would have had the utmost respect for that because I do have the utmost respect for personal journeys and experiences. And I really would like to know more about why she chose this particular way of life and how it's making her happy specifically. But it's very disturbing to me when she tries to apply that across the board. And I have been accused of doing the same thing. People have accused me of trying to represent all Hasidic women, but never once did I use a pronoun such as we. I was always talking about myself growing up Satmar. People would like to make the point that there's normal Satmar and there's fringe Satmar, there's normal Chabad and there's fringe Chabad. What I would like to say is, yes, there is a spectrum within each Hasidic community, and that spectrum covers two pretty extreme ends. There are extreme Satmars and modern Satmars. There are extreme Chabads that are messianic and believe the rabbi is going to rise from the grave, and there are Chabads that are much more liberal and understand that all of that is a little extreme. But the point is that within that spectrum, you still enclose all of the community, because the community is its entire spectrum. It is not just that smack in the middle center that you define as normal and normative. So Chaya is a part of the Chabad community, but she is on one end of the spectrum. She is a BT, she is a liberal, she has an education. It bothers me that she's trying to paint her experience as the experience of all women within her community, no matter what part of the spectrum they are, and all women within all Hasidic communities, when she knows very little about those other communities, considering she became a BT. My goal as a writer and an activist, as someone who's speaking out about this topic and working on another book about this topic, is to alleviate pain and to promote reform within these communities. The way to do that is to continually speak out and to continually engage in dialogue. So here I am engaging in dialogue with Chaya. I'm very happy for this opportunity. I think it's important that we continue to discuss this. However, I think it is important for all of us on both sides to be as fair as we can. So I'm going to try to be very fair. It is my belief that the Hasidic community is very concerned with its public image. And because of that, they view it as really important, as a really high priority to sweep a lot of, abuse and pain under the rug in order to create this image that everything is wonderful and perfect. And I feel like Chaya's essay is a really classic example of that kind of PR, instead of being a very moving personal essay as it could have been. I know too many people who've suffered incredible abuse and betrayal within the Hasidic communities. And my goal is for people who are living within Hasidic communities who don't have a choice, who didn't choose that way of life because they weren't born religious and decided to become later, who were born into it and have no other options, who don't want to leave because they would lose their family and they would lose everything that is familiar to them. My goal is to prevent the pain and abuse that is going on within the community from happening to them. And the only way to do that is to encourage reform. We must speak out about the problems. We cannot shove them under the rug and pretend that it is all wonderful. Anyone who does that is betraying their fellow Jews within the community. Let's stop sexual abuse. Let's stop the shunning and ostracization of victims. Let's stop protecting the abusers. Let's stop trying to convert gay people through ex-gay therapy that is abusive on its own. Let's start offering legal advocacy to women who would like a divorce. Let's allow them to go to civil court where civil court can decide the custody of their children. Let's promote education reform. Let's make sure that Hasidic boys and girls have access to all the education that secular people have access to without being afraid of suffering a backlash from their community if they choose to take advantage of that. These are things I would like to see happen. I am not seeking to attack or destroy the Hasidic community. I am seeking to change it for the better. They were rallying against the internet because the internet presents a new and entirely powerful threat to the survival of the Hasidic world. However, my point in response to that is the internet is not going to go away. So we need the Hasidic community to adapt to this new information age, to change and reform so that you and the internet can now work together. The internet has helped many of my friends who have suffered abuse within the Hasidic community find support and find themselves. And like anything else, it can be used both for good and bad, and it's up to the individual person to use it for the good or bad. Again, I will say this community is in danger of collapse, as insiders have pointed out, but if we can change, reform, and adapt, we can move forward to a new generation that is healthier and happier. And that is my goal, and that is the goal of my friends who are fighting for the reform of education and attitudes towards abuse within the community. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope we can all continue this discussion further. If you have any questions that you would like me to discuss on my video blog, please submit them on my Tumblr. Again, thank you so much.